What is going on, guys? Predator45H here, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to World of Warships, where today we're going to take a look at the Tier 3 Soviet cruiser, the Bogatyr, I don't know, not Russian, sorry, not trying to offend anyone who may be from Russia, no idea how to properly pronounce that word, but the name rather reminds me of, in the movie Borat's assistant that goes with him, Azima Bogatyr or something like that. That's what the name reminds me of. But anyways, enough about Borat, that fantastic movie. Let's go on to the gameplay. Now we are on Big Race. This is a post-commentary. Just recorded the gameplay. It was a little bit late at night. Wasn't doing live comms. But anyway, so we're going to be taking a look at the ship and seeing how it does in battle. Now this is very much a Soviet St. Louis. Very similar to the brilliant American Tier 3 heavy cruiser, assault cruiser, whatever they called it. Few differences though. You've got a lot of guns, like the St. Louis does. However, you're not as well armored, and you don't have as many hit points. The St. Louis has what, 30,000 hit points, somewhere there, maybe more. I don't quite recall at this moment in time. We are fully upgraded in this replay, I believe, and we've got 23,000. So the St. Louis has got a larger health pool, but it's also got better armor. So in a straight up brawl match between a Bogatyr and a St. Louis, you will likely lose. The St. Louis also fires faster, I think. This is a 9-second reload. I think the St. Louis is 7 or 8 seconds. It's not a huge difference, but the St. Louis does fire slightly faster, I believe. But it's been a while since I played it, so forgive me if I'm wrong. And I don't know what this little destroyer was doing behind me, launching torpedoes like that. And now firing his guns. I don't know, this guy's just being weird. Scorpion sniper, leave me alone. And I was genuinely concerned here that he might be lining me up for a team kill. But thankfully he doesn't. But anyway, so like the St. Louis, you got a shitload of guns. A lot of them on the side, but then you do have 2 turrets, one in the front, one in the back, and each turret has 2 guns in it. So there is that, and they don't turn very quick. In fact, none of them turn very quick. I think I need to put the expert marksman captain skill on just to try and speed it up a little bit. But we've got a Kohlberg, and we're going to start putting some fire into him. However, just going on with this comparison with the St. Louis, all is not lost though, because you do have a few advantages over the St. Louis. Again, I don't quite recall the actual figures and that, but I believe you outrange the St. Louis. This has a range of about 11 kilometers. I believe St. Louis was just over 10.1. So you have a longer firing range than St. Louis. Opening fire on this enemy Bogatyr, and 3 hits and a fire. Torpedoes popping in, but they run out of range right away. And then not only do you have the longer firing range than the St. Louis, you're also faster. St. Louis tops out at 21 knots. This can go to 25. So even if you do stray within gun range of a St. Louis, you can then get out of it again. And that is actually why I think this may very well be the better Tier 3 cruiser compared to the St. Louis. Good number of hits, 4,000 damage. This is just firing high explosive. I had messed around a little bit with armor piercing in this ship and in some others, in some earlier matches in the evening. Still, I don't know why, I just don't like using armor piercing at these low tier cruisers. Generally, I start using armor piercing at tier 4. That's when I find they start becoming effective. Because I've gotten very few citadels. I don't know if it was just, you know, I'm not fully used to aiming these guns yet, which is quite possible, you know, what it is. But I just wasn't getting very many, and I just landed up finding that I was doing better with high explosive. Another enemy Bogatyr comes around the corner, so we're going to fire off a full broadside while we wait for the remaining turrets to turn around. Good number of hits and incapacitation, and there I think we can fire off the rear turret, and no idea where those shells went. But this guy's in quite a bit of trouble because there's 3 of us and we're all firing at him. Unfortunately, one of us can't aim, and that's me. And there's another Bogatyr and Emden, but they will soon have the island covering them, so we don't have to worry too much about them. And now we can give them a nice full broadside, all the guns, and 4 hits and a fire. And we're just slowing down a little bit so I don't clear this island and end up putting myself in the line of fire of those other ships. And we're just watching the shells go and seeing how they're falling, and not getting too many hits, but you know, a decent number. And I mean, it's just one of these lovely things when you, like this in the St. Louis, 5 hits and we get the kill. You know, these full broadsides, just this massive amount of firepower is always really, really awesome. It's quite a spectacle to watch, and really enjoy it. I enjoy it in that ship and I enjoy it in this ship. So we're just trying to kind of turn away a little bit. We don't want to get a whole lot closer, because we know there is another Bogatyr over there. We're going to try our luck, but wasn't expecting any shells to go over the mountain, but actually roughly half of them did, but then they splice, which is really unfortunate. We are detected, and there's a Wix at 8.8, turning the ship to get all guns on target, and we're going to fire off everything. You know, these situations against a destroyer, you should probably stagger your shots a little bit, but we fire everything. They go a little bit far. We should have given a little bit more lead in front of him, so we land up missing. And here comes another Bogatyr. Just looking around, seeing who our next target is. We're locking our guns over onto our starboard side to get our turrets turned around while we turn and get all the side guns. And we're just going to sort of fire them as they become ready, as they get on target. And you can see they actually, the side guns and the barbettes, or whatever they're called, actually can't turn fast enough to keep up with the you know, the ship turning. A few hits, we get them on fire. So yeah, if the barbettes can't even keep up, the turrets, I presume, definitely can't. So I think I do want to get the expert marksman skill. I thought about getting that when I applied my first tier 2 skill to my captain. I was like, you know, I don't really need it because this thing's got all the guns in the side. You know, it doesn't rely that much on turrets. Probably should have, because as I said, they're quite slow. But anyways, managed to land a hit and get that kill, and that's our second of the match. And here comes this Emden, which was a reward ship over Christmas, I believe. I never really tried to get it. I didn't have enough time to play, obviously being down in Durban with my parents over the festive season. So he dodges our second salvo. Third salvo sets them on fire again, takes out a turret, and he's just being pounded. And this Bogatyr really does seem to, like, I don't know, the shells just seem to do a hell of a lot of damage. And this match, it was just one of those games where my shells just find their mark at the perfect moment, and I'm just snagging kills left and right, because I think it was this Caspi on my port side. He did the majority. I think he did the majority of the damage to that Emden, but my shell was the last one to get there, and it managed to be my kill and my third of the match. So now we're going to start heading towards the enemy spawn location. We can see they still have 4 ships. It's 8-4. And we're going to head there at full speed, 24, 25 knots. They have managed to just sink someone else, so it's 8-5 now. But anyway, so I'm going to cut the replay, or cut the video here, and resume once we are within range and have some more action. Alright, so we are fast approaching. As you can see, it's now 8-7. And I was really getting worried in this match because it seemed like my team was going in one at a time into this group of enemies and letting them, you know, kill each ship as they arrived by themselves. Thankfully, there's now a little group of us that are moving towards, and we should kind of arrive together. But it was quite worrying because it was like 8-4 or something, and they've pretty much pulled it back. You know, it's now 5 versus 4. It was, you know, 4 versus, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 a few minutes ago. But anyway, so now we have this Novick at 12.1 kilometers. That is the tier 2 Soviet cruiser. I didn't really enjoy playing that. Most of the, you know, the big problem was I kept getting, every match I played in it, I was up tiered. It was, you know, 70% of the teams were tier 3, and there were a handful of tier 2s every single match, and it's just a little bit difficult to perform. I mean, it wasn't impossible because the Novick does have one thing going for it, and it does have a decent amount of guns once you've upgraded it. And are we going to be able to snag that kill? unfortunately not, but it has a very fast rate of fire. So yeah, in one particular engagement I had in it, I had about 7,000 hit points remaining. I wound up coming face to face with the St. Louis at about 6 kilometers. He had about the same hit points as I did, and I actually beat him because of my rate of fire and the fact that I was, maneuvering while he was pretty much sitting still. But the point is, it wasn't impossible. It just, I don't know, made it a little bit more difficult, and I didn't enjoy it that much. Bogatyr, been a lot more fun so far. So we're putting shots into this Novick, 10 kilometers, and another Novick there, and obviously been a little while since I've been playing properly, so I'm just struggling a little bit with the lead, sort of sequentially firing my guns here to just try and increase my chances of getting a few hits, and these are looking better. There's 1 hit, 2 hits, and he's down to 214 hit points. So we're going to fire a full salvo and see if we can finish him off. But there's still 1 Novick to go, and at least 1 should hit. There we go, 1 more hit, and we finish him off, 4th kill of the match. And this Novick, which is the last remaining ship on the enemy team, is now straying within gun range. As you can see, 11.2 I think is the max range on these guns. And the maximum speed that I saw while traveling to get back into the action here was 23.9. So it's not quite as fast as 25, but just under 24 kilometers. Still not bad for a tier 3 cruise, as I said, especially when your main competitor, the St. Louis, is a good 2 or 3 knots slower than you are. So shots going in, 3 hits, 1200 damage, more fire going in, another full broadside. Can we snag this kill? These shots are looking good, and they all drop on target, and we finish off the final kill, and we win the match. So at the end, it was of course a victory. We earned ourselves 104,727 credits, 2,256 experience, getting 69 target hits, 3 incapacitations, 5 kills, 6 fires, and Kraken Unleashed. Coming second place on the team, unfortunately, with a base XP of 752, 11 points behind Caspi 3000, who came in first place. Enemy team, the Chikuma, did really, really well. 633 base XP on a defeat, not bad at all. And then as for the detailed results, we did 30,793 high explosive damage, and a further 5,800 from fire. So not the most damage ever, but this was a decent enough little game. I thought it was good enough to show you and share my thoughts on the Tier 3 Soviet cruiser. So, I mean, we all know what the Tier 1 Orlon is like. The Tier 2 Novick, it's probably not a bad ship, but when you constantly up-tiered to Tier 3 all the time, and there's very few Tier 2s, it becomes a little bit more difficult and was a little bit of a pain. But the Novick seems pretty good so far, and I'm actually looking forward to trying to put some more time into the Soviet cruisers and find out what the rest of the cruiser line is like. But anyways, that is about it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships, Armored Warfare, and a few other things that are thrown to the mix from time to time. But as I said, that is it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.